a huge episode of Monday Night Raw with all the WrestleMania implications there could possibly be. So, no news and notes. We're going to get straight into the show. First, Bloodline. Heyman starts the show. Talks about Roman Reigns being upset that Jimmy Uso failed to take out Sami Zayn last week. He's going to get another chance this week. And then said that Solo Sikoa is going to deal with Kevin Owens. And he's expecting both of these problems to be solved tonight. That's the plan. That's the goal. Match 1. Solo Sikoa versus Kevin Owens. Match itself, okay. Match ends in disqualification as Kevin Owens is attacked by Jimmy Uso. Jimmy Uso and Solo Sikoa, they go to work on Kevin Owens. Sami Zayn ends up making the save. He actually is just wailing on Jimmy, just wailing all over him. Then he gets a chair and he chases both Solo and Jimmy off with the chair. And it's not looking very good. At this point, I noted that Sami's reaction was a little soft, just a little bit. Sami Zayn offers a handshake to Kevin Owens afterwards. Kevin Owens says nope. He just kind of walks away. Later, Kevin Owens is sitting backstage and Sami Zayn comes over and he reiterates the situation before, that the bloodline is too much for one person. He was a member of the bloodline. He knows how they work. And they don't need to be best friends again, but they do need to team up. Because they need to, only way for them to be successful is they work together. Kevin Owens says, yeah, I remember you as a member of the bloodline. I remember you in this very building said that you were a member of the bloodline. The way you talked to me, the way you treated me. And yeah, it might be too much for me to do this alone, but I'm not going to do it with you. Maybe you should just go back to kissing Roman Reigns' ass and stroking his ego, and maybe he'll let you back into the bloodline. So, Sami Zayn, his redemption is denied once again. Very interesting plot point. Again, Sami Zayn is still a problem, and Heyman tells Jimmy that he's the one. He's got to be the one. He's going to be the one that's finally going to take out Sami Zayn. He is the one who's going to have to deal with the pressure that not only if he doesn't take out Sami Zayn, that's going to be a problem, but he's got until the end of the week to convince Jay to return to the bloodline. Because if he doesn't, then it's going to be Jimmy who's going to be the one suffering the consequences. Sami Zayn cuts a promo backstage saying that Kevin Owens was right, that he has been fighting the bloodline alone, but it still bothers him that Jimmy was his dog. Jimmy was the one who supported him the whole time he was in the bloodline, and now he's got to be the one that's got to take him out. And he says, "My dog, you're supposed to be my dog." So basically, they set up this main event very well. Main event match. Sami Zayn versus Jimmy Uso. Sami Zayn wins the match. Jay Uso appears at the end. After the match, Jay, he kind of confronts or squares off with Jimmy, and there's no words really spoken between them. Jay seems to be struggling with this decision before he finally just kind of walks past Jimmy, and Jimmy doesn't do anything. He just kind of lets him go. Jay is visibly in pain from having to walk away from his brother. He goes outside the ring where he's with Sami Zayn. He's standing there with Sami, and he hugs Sami Zayn, and the place absolutely erupts. It's like John Cena came out there again. People are chanting "Holy shit" because these guys hugged. It's ridiculous. Okay, it's ridiculous. And Jimmy is watching this, and he's down on one knee, and his head's all hung low, and he's like, "Oh man, damn, what am I gonna do? I'm in deep water. I'm on deep water with no arms and legs. I can't swim." Then they put the ones up. Sami Zayn and Jay Uso put the ones up, and Sami's yelling at Jimmy like, "It's not too late. It's not too late for you to leave. It's not too late for you to move on, Jimmy. It's not too late." And then, boop, he get kicked right in the jaw. Jay Uso kicked Sami Zayn right in the jaw. The crowd instantly And it happened so fast, the reaction couldn't turn around immediately because they were still up from the hug and everything. But it all started to come in when, Jay is yelling and saying, "You thought I was going to pick you? You thought I was going to pick you? This family shit. This family." He's no mic, but he's yelling this family shit. He throws Sami Zayn into the ring and they just started beating his ass. Just whoop his ass. Then Cody actually comes out to make the save. Cody runs out there, and the Usos and Solo Sikoa, they just back off. They didn't jump Cody. They just kind of watched. They let Cody protect Sami Zayn as they went off the air. Let me tell you, this was fish grease. This whole situation here, fish grease. They built up, the pressure on Jimmy. Jimmy told a great story physically of looking sort of under fire, of all the pressure that's being dumped on him on this evening. And you can see it in his face. It's slipping away. He keeps trying to actually do the job, but it's a little too much for him. You could tell that it's not really in his wheelhouse. He's not the guy that's going to take people out. He's not the attack dog. That was always Jay. Jay was the attack dog. Solo was the hatchet man. Jimmy was Jimmy. That's what it was. And it's kind of the reverse of what, Roman and Jay had. Remember that conversation where, Roman was like, Jimmy would have did it. Jimmy would have handled it, which is how he used to torture Jay. But now he's got Jay's mind so screwed up. Jay is, a pit bull out there, So Jimmy doesn't have that kind of vicious streak that Jay's got. So Sammy kept escaping him. He couldn't be the one that's going to take out Sami Zayn. He couldn't be the one that's going to handle that problem. So they showed you that he failed a couple of times. He failed last week on SmackDown. He failed twice on Raw, but Jimmy one time. It was a pretty good one time because he waited for Sami Zayn to drop his guard or whatever. But very well done. Everybody knew that the super kick was coming. Everybody knew that Jay was going to end up rejoining the bloodline. This is one of those times where, even though it's what was going to happen, it was still the right thing to do, and it was flawless. Wow, very well done. The matches didn't even matter that much. What mattered is that the bloodline is now back together. Jay back with Jimmy. Now we've got the next 2 to 3 weeks to get Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn on the same page. Maybe Cody's going to help them with that. Maybe Cody's going to create this alliance against the bloodline. Maybe he's going to be the partner for Sami Zayn for a little while. And then before Kevin Owens steps in. But this was kind of the last straw. Sami Zayn he was still being a good guy. He was still believing that things could change. That if he applied enough pressure, Jimmy would, walk away. But now things are stronger than ever. Now he's been kicked out and the blood is stronger than ever. And I'm very, very interested in what we do on SmackDown. Obviously, it doesn't really need to be explained that much, considering Jimmy is his actual brother, Roman is his actual cousin, Solo is his actual brother. This is his real family. He's not going to go against his family. You don't really need more of an explanation than that. After it still would be nice, I guess, if Jay is going to explain his reasoning for why he was okay with it, with going back to the bloodline rather, but it's not really necessary. It's not really necessary to explain why he's going back because it's pretty obvious if you've been following the story. Jay's whole thing is he's been manipulated by the blood. He hates Roman, but he does what he does because he has to do it for his family. His family is above everything. That's one of the themes of the bloodline stories. They keep telling you family above everything. Doesn't matter what's going on, what personal beefs they might have. at the end of the day, family had to be above everything. So I really thought this was amazing. It was a little rushed at the end because something tells me they didn't have enough time. They wanted to make sure to get the turn in, and they didn't really take the time to let it breathe. Like, the super kick happened, and then Jay was like full heel, like immediately. He didn't let it rest and let people get upset first. You know how WWE likes to drag things out. They didn't really do that here. So it was okay. But it was great. It was fantastic. You know, a lot of the great physical storytelling from the guys, the visuals, excellent. So now the bloodline is strong. Sami Zayn's by himself. Well, he's not by himself anymore. He has a new comrade, which is Cody Rhodes. And I wonder how long. It just tried to basically get Cody Rhodes in on this situation to build some heat for his feud with Roman, because his feud with Roman really is just now a promo. That's pretty much it. Now we got to start building the heat. You know, we are 3 weeks out now. But I'm perfectly okay with no contact between Roman and Cody up to WrestleMania. I'm perfectly fine with that. So it seems like it's going to be 6-man tags, maybe. Sami Zayn, Cody, and Kevin Owens versus the Bloodline, Solo Sikoa, and the Usos. That should work the house show loop for a while. That ought to work out on the house show loop. I know that Sami Zayn challenged Roman Reigns at a house show. It's a house show, so it doesn't really matter, but he lost again. Doesn't really matter that much. It was a house show. The only people, I don't know why people just act like this house show was a big deal. Plus, it was in Toronto, not in Montreal. It's not like you could do it all over again anyway. So I'm guessing that Friday is going to be celebratory, where Jimmy Uso is going to get credit for, you know, being the guy who kept the bloodline together. But it might be an issue where, you know, Jay didn't come back for Jimmy, or because Jimmy wanted him to, but maybe he came back because Jimmy was under such pressure, and he didn't want anything bad to happen to Jimmy, so he came back. Which seems to me that it would fit Jay's character, especially considering when they did the I Quit match. That's the reason Jay quit, is because Jimmy was in danger. So maybe they're running that idea back, that Jay knows what kind of danger Jimmy was in, with Roman Reigns looking to, quote, blame him for everything, and how terrible that would have been. And so he's figured, I'm going to sacrifice my friendship with Sami Zayn to save my brother. Just like, you know, he sacrificed his desire to be the world champion to save his brother. And, you know, the family above everything. It fits. So I loved it. I thought it was fantastic. Huge moment. Very necessary. Of course, you saw it coming. Doesn't matter. You know, it's one of those things where it's like a horror movie, you know? Like, you kind of figure these regular campers, these people humping in the woods, they ain't got nothing for Jason Voorhees. He's just going to pop up and knife him to death. But, you know, you still watch the movie knowing that that's what's going to happen, you know? So it was fantastic. It was very well done, though. You know, they milked it very well. I enjoyed that. Bobby Lashley did a backstage promo when she said Bray Wyatt ain't a man. He thought that he could provoke Bray Wyatt into confronting him, but instead Bray just sends a man in a mask and says, "What will it take to get you to face me?" This is what he's saying to Bray Wyatt. As Bobby Lashley talks, the symbol flashes on the screen of Bray Wyatt, but nothing really occurs. The feud between Bobby and Bray is really garnering negative attention, a lot of negative reactions, because it's very slapdash. It came out of nowhere. There's no explanations. Uncle Howdy went from being a supernatural force that was tormenting Bray Wyatt to now a small job guy in a mask who was getting beat up by Bobby Lashley and does the weather in the fun house or whatever. I don't know what that is about. So a lot of people are just getting real negative on Bray Wyatt, but it's like, you know, hey, people been negative the whole time. So are we really that off put? because it seems like it's really par for the course as far as I'm concerned. But we need to do something because they got 3 weeks. They need to do something quick. They really need to speed this up. You can't decompress this anymore. So SmackDown needs to be a little bit of the bloodline, but it needs to be a lot of Bray Wyatt. It needs to be a lot of Bray Wyatt and Bobby Lashley building up their story and making their story make sense and making their story matter. All right. Carmella's there. Carmella talked about Adam Pearce setting up Bianca Belair to be humiliated. Then Chelsea Green comes in. She promises to go over the head of Adam Pearce to go to his manager for some reason. Her and Carmella start to bond over the fact that Carmella thinks that she should be added to a triple threat match if she wins. And then, of course, this is where Chelsea Green was like, hey, maybe we could go to his boss and get that thing to happen. And Carmella's like, oh, you know what? You're so smart. And they talk about how smart they are, how great they are, yada, yada, yada. They bully Byron Saxon a little bit by, kind of pushing him off. They were doing the bye thing, which is something Taryn Terrell does. It's very annoying. It's super annoying. And Carmella invited Chelsea Green to come to ringside with her for her match with Bianca Belair. This match was entirely too long. Bianca Belair defeats Carmella, obviously. The less said about this, the better. After the match, Carmella and Chelsea Green attacked Bianca Belair. Asuka came out wearing quote-unquote normal clothes. I think she was a software developer or something like that when she was in Japan. I think around concurrently when she was wrestling, she was also working in IT or something like that. She looked like it. She looked like she does that, or she sells guns for the Yakuza or something like that. Like the suit jacket she was wearing was like epic. Anyway, she spit mist into Chelsea Green's face and just kind of stared down with Bianca Belair. I'm guessing it's going to go babyface versus babyface with Asuka and Bianca because they're not trying to put any heat on this at all. I would prefer if you just turned Asuka heel. That would be better. But what do I know? I'm just a guy on the internet. I just don't think you should split the audience. I think you should make a decision. Having Carmella and Chelsea Green be central figures in a storyline where neither one of them are going to be in the title match makes no sense. Like, why are we... Because we're building up to a tag team match, right? The Asuka, Bianca Belair versus Carmella and Chelsea Green, right? Okay, so once they have that match, that they'll still have 2 weeks left to build WrestleMania. Why? Why even bother? You should be building WrestleMania now. They should at least be doing sit-downs, talking about each other, talking to each other, doing vignettes, doing workout videos or something. They shouldn't be doing stupid matches, because what if Bianca Belair twists her match in one of these useless... twists her ankle rather in one of these useless matches against Carmella? You have to think about that. Like, you're very close to WrestleMania now. You don't have time for her to be out here taking silly bumps. If these people are solidified on the WrestleMania card, you should be given promo time at this point. Like, she's not fighting for a spot at WrestleMania. She's already on the card. So take her out of the ring. I mean, common sense. All right, moving on. There was a nice little Rhea Ripley vignette. I thought it was nice anyway. All right, so Miz TV. This is an incredible segment. So Miz says that because they used his phone to set this thing up, he will moderate this face-to-face between Logan Paul and Seth Rollins. When Logan Paul came out, Miz tried to get him to shake his hand. He was just standing there with his hand in the handshake motion, and Logan Paul just walked right past him like he didn't see him. I thought that was excellent. That was pretty funny. And it actually shows some kind of character continuity. That just because they're both heels again doesn't mean that they're friends again. Miz is obviously being fake, but it's great that Logan Paul actually just ignored the Miz. All right. So the promo battle can be summed up pretty simply. Seth Rollins introduces himself and his accolades and everything, while Logan Paul says that he was just a clown. He stomped out of Elimination Chamber. Then says that he doesn't know what his problem with him is. He doesn't know what Seth Rollins' problem with him is. And then he said, but he claimed to be better at Seth Rollins' job than he is. said that he's accomplished more in 1 year than Rollins has in 20 years. That he's on his way in while Rollins is on his way out, and that he works smarter and doesn't work harder. And hey, if I was you, I'd hate me too. And I was like, woo, that was kind of brutal, bro. That was kind of brutal, fam. So Seth Rollins said, look, none of that got anything why we don't like you. We don't like you because you're the scum of the earth. Called him a fraud. He called him a coward. He called him a troll. Said that we don't want you in our house. Because now Rollins is full babyface. He says he doesn't want anything to do with this. So he says that he's not here to talk to Logan Paul. He's here to get his pound of flesh. And so he decides he wants to fight. And, Logan Paul's like, oh, you want to fight? All right, cool. So Miz steps in at this point, says that, there should be no fighting on Miz TV. Logan Paul kind of goes after the Miz, says that if he wants to fight, he will, because he does what he wants to do. But says that one thing he doesn't do is fight for free. He's a premium act. He called himself a premium act. Should have said a premium talent or a primetime talent or something like that. It says that if the stage was bigger, if the money was bigger, he would consider having a match with Seth Rollins. At this point, The Miz said, well, I'm the host of WrestleMania. Maybe I can pull some strings to get you guys a match. And so the match is official. Logan Paul versus Seth Rollins at WrestleMania. They get into a fight, too, with Logan Paul ends up punching Seth Rollins from behind. Because The Miz was involved with this fight, too. It's really just him being a distraction. All right, so the promo situation, Logan Paul runs down Seth Rollins, says that he did more in 1 year than Seth Rollins done in 20 years. It stings like the Dickens, but at least there's no truth to it. Which is why, you take it with a grain of salt that there's not that much truth in that section. Like, he probably gets paid as much, but he comes in with built-in celebrity and social media influence and all that kind of stuff. So maybe in that regard, I guess making it to the main event of a big show fast. I guess that's the case. It did take. Well, Seth Rollins wasn't on the independents that long. He's been in WWE longer than he was in Ring of Honor or anything like that. So I think he's been in WWE about twice as long as he's been in Ring of Honor or anything like that. So Logan Paul is a prodigy, and that's fine. But they're trying to focus on the fact that Logan Paul is just a not good guy, and that's the reason why the people don't like him, is because he's not a good guy. But for somebody like me who don't know that much about Logan Paul, it's like, okay, I would like for you to show me something in kayfabe for there to be a reason for us to not like him. I know that in kayfabe, it kind of started with Seth Rollins throwing shots at him in interviews. And then, of course, it leads to the Royal Rumble, the Elimination Chamber, yada, yada, yada. But to have the amount of heat that Logan Paul has, I'm not sure if those relatively minor incidences, like, people get jumped all the time in big matches, and get cost matches, and they're not as over in terms of being hated as much as Logan Paul. Like, people hate Logan Paul to the point where they wouldn't even attend the guy's funeral if he died. I mean, shit. They throw a parade if Logan Paul died at this point. They're like, damn, what the hell did he do to all these people? Outside of the CoffeeZilla scam stuff, which I'm pretty sure most people don't even know about. I'm keep saying it until somebody asks me about it. Anyway, I'm okay with this match. I think Seth Rollins is at a point in his career where he's wrestled everybody on the card. He's wrestled everybody up and down this show for the most part in meaningful, significant matches. So the only way to really get the most out of him is to start doing freak show stuff with him. It's almost like AJ Styles when he wrestled Shane McMahon at WrestleMania that year. Everybody thought, oh, it was such a waste of time. He could have, at that point, AJ Styles had feuded with quite a few people already. He had some pretty substantial feuds with some guys, and it was kind of a big nod that he could work with Shane and be trusted to work with Shane. And I'm getting same thing here with Seth Rollins. Like, they're trusting him to work with Logan Paul. And Logan Paul is one of their guys. He's one of the celebrities that they like to use. So I'm cool with this. I liked it. I think the promo was pretty good. I think Logan Paul is a pretty good heel. Clearly, this match is going to bang from an in-ring perspective. Logan Paul is going to go out there to once again prove that he deserves to be a wrestler. He is, not just a visitor in this business. So I'm cool with this, and I don't have a problem with it. So nice job. Okay, so before we move on, let's take a moment to talk about Seth Rollins and his character real quick. So a lot of people say they don't understand Seth Rollins' character. I don't think they're following along, but there's also an element of there's something here for you to appreciate, even if you don't follow the character. All right, so Seth Rollins, he's still calling himself the visionary, the revolutionary. Basically, he's still the Monday Night Messiah. That if you don't understand Seth Rollins' character, that's it. As clearly as possible. He's still doing a different version of the Monday Night Messiah. That's all it is. But let's say you're against that concept. You're like, oh, that's not the same thing. It's like literally the Monday Night Messiah was trying to build like a cult around himself. Now you got Seth Rollins getting the entire crowd to sing his theme song. It's the same character, okay? It's just, I know you're probably thinking it's not. It's the same thing, all right? Now, if you are saying, okay, it's not, why is he dressed like this? Why is he doing this stuff? I've been watching a lot of old wrestling, and that's my favorite thing to do now. It's been my favorite thing to do for the last 15 years. Nobody ever asked why Randy Savage wore 90% of the stuff that he wore. Nobody ever asked any questions about why the tassels, why the cowboy hat, why the crown, why, purple and green and orange all at one time. And why sometimes wear a shirt and sometimes you don't. Why sometimes you tape your finger and sometimes you don't. Why sometimes you wear a sleeve, sometimes you don't. None of it mattered. We need to take that perspective when it comes to the way Seth Rollins dresses, and just says there's no rhyme or reason for it. He's being chaotic. Let's just leave it alone. Yes, you should dress, the way you dress should convey the character. But I think unless you understand what he's trying to convey through his dress, just take it like Randy Savage and that he's just trying to be majestic or whatever the case may be. Because he was wearing like a huge robe today. It was like red and white or something like that. It was atrocious looking. And he's been doing this for over a year. Like, he's been doing this, I just want to wear wherever retarded stuff I find at Goodwill. He's been wearing this stuff for like a year. He's been wearing women's clothes. He's been wearing men's clothes. He's been wearing oversized clothes, tight clothes, cartoonish boots. He's been doing this stuff for a long time. And you can tell, especially if you couldn't tell from the WrestleMania commercial, he's trying to add certain elements of like the Joker and that kind of stuff into the character. And part of it is being garish. That's part of, when he was the Monday Night Messiah, when he first started doing it, it was like all black all the time. Then it was like very serious, all black all the time. Now he's just kind of, since he snapped, which was a long time ago, he's just kind of been going in all these different directions. So people who don't understand the Seth Rollins character, it's cool to just take it like the Macho Man and just like, hey, it is what it is. Just colors for the sake of, designs for the sake of, women's clothes, men's clothes, oversized clothes, whatever, just for the sake of, and it's goofy. But for me, I understand what he's trying to do, and the message that he's trying to convey. So let's move on from that, because I know there's a lot of people who continue to tweet and be confused. I don't know how you could still confuse a year later, but whatever. All right, Omos defeated Dolph Ziggler. Nobody cares. Mustafa Ali was in the crowd mocking Dolph Ziggler. He had a pro Dolph Ziggler sign. I don't remember what it said. Should I have taken time to note that? No. Also, Mustafa Ali was the one who got Dolph Ziggler this match. So apparently Mustafa Ali has some kind of stroke that can make this match happen. Omos wins in like 2 minutes. If that. Then MVP gets on the microphone, says that all the hype that he needs for the WrestleMania match with Brock Lesnar is right here. Omos is going to tame the beast. I love how a lot of people are now starting to pay attention to why Omos versus Brock Lesnar is even happening. Again, I was one of those people who kind of like, I don't want this match to happen, but I know what they're doing. And it's clear they're just trying to create a spectacle. And everybody knows this match is going to draw money because Brock is wrestling somebody who's bigger than he is. Some people are going to remember that Omos wrestled Bobby Lashley last year and lost. Most people are not. And even if they do remember, they haven't seen Brock Lesnar do this stuff. They haven't seen Omos get picked up. They haven't seen Omos get, suplexed a lot. They haven't seen Omos get, physically thrown around. And Brock Lesnar and Omos are going to kill in like YouTube clips and social media stuff. It's going to be big business. And I think pretty much a lot of people within the business know that even though it's very slapdash in how this thing was put together, that ultimately once it's on the stage, it's going to be short and they're going to do just enough highlights where the GIFs and everything is going to be hot and it's going to blow up Facebook and Instagram and everything. So they're thinking of it. They're using this as good marketing and promotion, not necessarily trying to win the Bryan Danielson Technical Luthez Wrestler of the Year award. They don't care about that stuff in WWE. You should know this by now. All right, so Maximum Male Models is backstage and talking about how much they love them some Otis. But Baron Corbin thought they were talking about him. And he's talking about how he's been on a losing streak lately, how he's been looking to turn things around. Maximum Male Models says no, you're nothing. Mansois referred to him as a troglodyte, which I thought was pretty funny. Then Baron Corbin asked, what does he have, he being Otis, what does he have that I don't have? And they just rattled off these really, he says charisma, uniqueness, nerve, and talent. All these wonderful things that Otis has that Baron Corbin doesn't have. But Maxine Dupree says she'll consider taking on Baron Corbin as a client if he can defeat Chad Gable. So, Chad Gable once again finds his way onto the show in a boring 3 to 4 minute match with Baron Corbin. Corbin loses. Nobody cares. Nobody cares about it. It's filler. All right, moving on. Finn Balor loses to Johnny Gargano because Edge came out there and got involved. To accentuate how much aid Johnny Gargano needed, Dexter Lumis took out Damian Priest, and Johnny Gargano himself ended up attacking Dominic Mysterio outside the ring. We got ourselves another, 6-man situation here. Edge, Gargano, and Lumis versus Priest, Mysterio, and Balor. But I'm hoping they're not going to do that. Hoping they're not going in that direction. I don't want that. Anyway, after the match, Edge speared Finn Balor. So he cost Finn Balor this match that he was kind of dominating. Edge later says that they're now starting to affect one another's careers. That Finn Balor was about to beat Johnny Gargano until he interrupted. Just like he was about to beat Austin Theory until Finn Balor interrupted. And said he wants to settle this in the ring next week. And he didn't say in what way. He just said he wants to settle it in the ring next week. So I guess we're going to get the challenge for WrestleMania, because Finn Balor did make a challenge for Edge at WrestleMania, but Edge has not responded to that challenge yet. I guess they forgot. All right. Johnny Gargano winning. You take a guy who's WrestleMania bound and we're just going to beat him on TV instead of getting a disqualification. And it's WWE. Nobody cares about these goddamn filler ass matches anyway. So you might as well go ahead and get the DQ or the count out or something like that, and call it a day. So I don't know why we're going to have Finn Balor lose and then he's going to go to WrestleMania and fight Edge. It's like, why would anybody believe he's going to beat Edge if he can't beat Johnny Gargano? Ugh. Anyway, I'm okay with this. I'm okay with Edge anyway, and Finn Balor continuing. Now, apparently, Edge is looking to retire this year, and he wants to retire in Toronto. And they're going to be in Toronto again in August. So a lot of people think that this episode of SmackDown is going to be airing in Toronto. That very well could be true. But, having Edge retire on a random episode of SmackDown in August doesn't seem like a very big thing to do. Like, it just still doesn't feel like that's something you would do. I know that probably they think that more people will see it if it's on SmackDown, but like when you wait for like a pay-per-view or WrestleMania or something, I don't know. But if it is, hopefully they got something planned for that day. I've heard some people whispering that Christian might be on his way back by then, and maybe they do something with Edge and Christian to end Edge's career, but we'll see. I don't know how long those AEW contracts are. Plus, I don't think Edge needs Christian anyway. And Christian doesn't need Edge. I think they're doing very well on their own and having separate careers and everything. Guys don't have to be handcuffed forever, But it would be nice if they could have one more tag match or something like that. That would be cool. I would think that would be great. Like maybe they challenge for the tag team titles at that show, and whether they win or lose, they agree to retire, or Edge agrees to retire. So even if he wins, he still retires or whatever. That might be nice. I don't know. But it's just something that's been thrown out there. It's nothing like solidified yet. All right, another bullshit match. Nikki Cross is destroyed by Piper Niven. This match was basically... Piper Niven's entrance was longer than the match was. It was that pointless. Very, very pointless. All right, so Rick Boogs and Elias, they're doing dumb stuff backstage. Rick Boogs forgot his notes, quote unquote. I don't know what that means. Maybe he had a notebook. In any event, Elias says that he has been inspiring millions of people, and he wants to inspire Rick Boogs as well. So he says he told Rick Boogs to go over to that guy and say, "I challenge you to a match." And Rick Boogs is an idiot, apparently. And he says, he has to say it 3 or 4 times. And then Rick Boogs goes over there, says that, "Hey, Elias challenges you to a match." So Bronson Reed comes over and to accept the challenge for Elias, and they're going to fight next week. Clearly, Rick Boogs misunderstood the assignment, and okay, we're doing this now. That's what we're doing. We're just doing this. Moving on, because we got a lot of other stuff to discuss. John Cena and Austin Theory. This is what everybody has been waiting for. John Cena comes out. He's a little emotional at the reaction, and everybody's happy to see him. As soon as he gets in the ring, Austin Theory's theme song plays. So Austin Theory gets in the ring, says that he used to watch John Cena with his mom, and that he was inspired by John Cena. Says that he has a gift for him, and that gift is a shot at the United States Championship at WrestleMania. John Cena said no. Said he wasn't interested. Said that Austin Theory had not earned the right to face him at WrestleMania. Said that he's watched him, he's listened to him, and nobody cares about him. Nobody cares about him because nobody believes in him. And he says nobody believes in you because you got nothing in here, meaning his heart. He's got no heart. Then, he pointed out a sign. The sign says that Austin Theory is a John Cena wannabe or something like that. Then John Cena told Austin Theory that he is the ghost of your Christmas future. Says you're about ruthless aggression, and that almost got me fired. Said you got no heart, you got no soul, you're a pair of trunks away from being a jabroni. He said you had a great name because in theory, he should be perfect for WWE. He should be exactly what everybody wants, but no one cares about him. Then he says that he wants Austin Theory to shut up, turn around, and he's going to allow him to leave in one piece. So he's just diced Austin Theory up here on the microphone. Just diced him up. Just absolutely destroyed him. Austin Theory came back, with a bald spot joke saying that he's not going anywhere. He's like John Cena's bald spot. Then he says that Cena is giving up. He said, are you giving up? Where's the respect? You have the golden ticket. These people want to see you at WrestleMania and you're just going to give it up. Where's your hustle? Oof. So he says that the old saying is right. You don't want to meet your heroes because they only disappoint you. Cena got on the microphone again and said that he would rather be bald than have people pipe in crowd reactions. Then he says that he said no because he was saving Austin Theory. He saved his ass. He said, because you're not ready. He says, if you lose to me at WrestleMania, you're done. You talked a big game and you came up short. You're finished. If you beat me, then you're done. Because now you don't have me to lean on anymore. You got to come out here in front of the most critical crowd in WWE and stand on your own 2 feet, and you're not ready. I mean, just once again, kicking the kid in the nuts. At this point, Cena does a crowd poll to see if the crowd wants him to wrestle Austin Theory at WrestleMania. Crowd overwhelmingly says yes. So then John Cena says, okay, he'll have the match. Then he says, but this is not going to turn out very well for Austin Theory because he doesn't have it in his heart. He doesn't have it in his soul. He doesn't have any balls. This was brutal. This was brutal. It came across as being unnecessarily brutal. Now, was he buried? Which obviously that's going to be the question. My thing was, this was it's kind of a military thing, They're tearing him down so they could build him up later. But they already did that with Austin Theory. They already tore him down so they can build him up later. He went on a goddamn losing streak. Gave up his money in the bank because, quote unquote, he wasn't ready yet. He wasn't ready yet. So why you keep putting him in this position if he wasn't ready? I don't get that. He wasn't ready for Money in the Bank, so we gave it to him anyway. Then we took it away from him. And then we gave him the United States title, but we didn't do anything with the United States title. He just has it. So now he's going to get the obligatory match with John Cena that everybody wants him to have, but we didn't put any heat on it. And the heat that we did put on it just means that we made Austin Theory look like he's a guy who has no business being in the ring with John Cena. Congratulations, you booked this kid very well leading up to this. Here's how you could have changed it. If they would have had this conversation the last time John Cena was on TV, which was this, it was on SmackDown, right? If they would have had this conversation and Austin Theory would have challenged John Cena to a match, it didn't even have to be a match at WrestleMania. It could have been a match anywhere. He said, well, since you want to wrestle, how about you wrestle me next week? And Cena could have cut this exact same promo and said, Austin Theory, got no heart, got no guts, got nothing. And then we could have spent from that time to now building up Austin Theory with that in his mind. His motivation is to impress his hero, John Cena. And it could be used in a villainous way because sometimes when you are criticized by your heroes, you do take a villainous route. Much like, what's that movie? Was it The Incredibles? Where, the kid's hero was, Mr. Incredible or whatever, but he didn't give him the time of day, and so he kind of turned on him. I think Iron Man had a villain like that too at one point. That could be something that you could have done. Could have been interesting. I think MJF, he did something similar with CM Punk, where he talked about he was supposed to be at that show that CM Punk didn't show up at, and all that kind of stuff. There are ways of doing this that would have made more sense. How are you going to rebuild Austin Theory and make him worthy of wrestling John Cena in 3 weeks? That's before I even really get into this promo was unnecessary in terms of the amount of abuse Austin Theory took in this promo. You have to ask the question. If you wanted to say destroy and rebuild, pal, okay. 3 weeks? 3 weeks. What is he going to do in 3 weeks that's going to turn this thing around? If you gave him 2 or 3 months, maybe. 4 months, okay. I definitely think he could have, built up by then. But no, 3 weeks, there's nothing he can do. There's no promo he can cut that's going to change people's opinion in 3 weeks. There's no match that he can have that's going to change anybody's opinion in 3 weeks. Cena was absolutely, the worst thing about it is that Cena was telling the truth. Nobody does care about Austin Theory. And it's not really the fault of Austin Theory. He's very good. The issue is and has always been the way that he's being presented. He's presented it in the most bland way possible. Especially since Triple H took over, it's been terrible. He's been literally doing nothing the entire time. He's just been holding the United States title. He hasn't been doing anything. He hasn't even been visible with this belt the entire time. So not only did you have this guy come out here and just drop truth bombs on Austin Theory, which is, you could say that it's good for him because we're getting a lot of this stuff out of here. It's similar to what John Cena has done with Roman Reigns and what he's done with CM Punk and Bryan Danielson. He's also done this with, I think, The Rock. So, those truth bombs come in there and you kind of embarrass people a little bit. And you see how they deal with the pressure and how they deal with the fans' perception of them changing. The difference is all of those guys were pretty much set. Not much John Cena could do that could damage The Rock. Not nothing he could really say that was going to really hurt The Rock or Undertaker or Roman Reigns at that point. But Austin Theory is a guy where people are just kind of sitting back like, I don't know. I saw him with last year. He was with Vince. He's getting mega heat because Vince was putting him over super strong. So people did care. People were pissed that he was, getting that super push. And then Triple H took over and all of that slowed down to a crawl. Now we got to rebuild him in our own image. And then this is their image that they've been having for the last 8 months. And then John Cena came and shit all over that. So it's like, you booked him, you think Vince booked him wrong. So you're going to book him right. But you've been booking him longer. And then you shit all over it. You shit all over the work that you just did. So it's like, if you really felt that way and had him come out here and face this kind of heat, why even make the match? And I think the match is a bad idea, personally. For the reasons John Cena said. If Austin Theory loses, what do? Cena just loses to, beats Austin Theory. He's got the U.S. belt. Now what? Cena's going to have to defend it? He could, in theory, no pun intended, win the U.S. title and then put it up in a tournament or something like that and say, look, I'm not going to be around to defend it, so I'm just going to relinquish the belt. And then it's vacant. Okay, you could do that. Or you have Austin Theory beat John Cena, which is what everybody expects to happen. But how does that build character? How does him beating John Cena build his character? It doesn't. It just gives his character something to talk about. The thing is that people should have just stuck with what Vince was doing. Vince knew what the fuck he was doing when he was doing what he was doing with with Austin Theory. How do I know? Because he did it with Randy Orton. He knew what he was doing. He knows if you beat people over the head with this kid, they will hate him naturally. If you keep talking about how he's perfect, he's great for the business, he's a company guy, yada, 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 people will actually come to hate that. They will come to, because, people hate the company. I mean, it is what it is. They hate company guys. They hated Cena for that same reason. They hated Roman Reigns for that same reason. They was going to hate Austin Theory for that same reason. And that was going to be the thing that he's going to get over on. It was going to make him the next representative of the company that people can dump all of their hatred onto, their hatred of the company onto. But instead, they decided he's going to wear a black jacket and shades and comb his hair. And all of a sudden that was going to be, I'm not a kid anymore. They're fumbling this thing. It's a big opportunity to wrestle John Cena. It's huge. To me, it's a foregone conclusion. I don't think Cena, it doesn't matter to most people whether Cena loses or not. it may matter to the kids. I don't think the kids want to watch John Cena lose again. And that might be the real bad angle to this thing, is that you keep dragging John Cena out here and he wins some, loses some, wins some, loses some. That's not good. So he won the last time he was out there. I'm guessing he's got to win again, because if he keep losing singles matches, people are going to be like, oh well, John's just coming out here to put people over again. And you don't want to create that. You don't want to create that John Cena's just here to put you over. That sucks. I know Cena didn't do a lot of jobs, but Hogan didn't do this shit. Undertaker didn't do this shit. The Rock doesn't just come out and put people over. It doesn't work like that. When you're a John Cena, you don't just come back and do jobs. You save your jobs for people who matter. And Austin Theory has not been put in a position where losing to him will actually matter. John Cena should fucking win. And then you start over. You kill Austin Theory, this version of him, and hopefully you can salvage what you can out of this thing. But it's crazy. The guy's been United States champion for a while now. He was United States champion before this. He's won the Money in the Bank already. He's got some accolades under him. And yet the company is still very confused about who he is, about what he is, and how they want to present him. It's disturbing. This has been one of the biggest pieces of crap that I could think of. One of the worst examples of Triple H booking has been Austin Theory. Like I said, there's been a couple of people that since Triple H has taken over, you can clearly tell he has had no interest in pushing. Austin Theory, he's barely on TV. I don't care that he has a United States belt. Nobody cares about that belt. When he is on TV, he just wrestles matches. He doesn't build up any character. There's no motivations. There's nothing to Austin Theory. It's empty. He's basically a blank slate. Liv Morgan, again, nothing. He's giving her nothing. She does nothing but lose. Lacey Evans, he's pulled her from TV multiple times now. She hasn't been on TV in forever. There's been quite a few more people that I can think of that has not had any character development, which is the most important part of this thing. Chad Gable gets 100 matches. Very little character development. But since Triple H took over, that's been the main focus anyway, has been having 100 fucking matches. Johnny Gargano hasn't had any character development either. They just stop. Like, none of this stuff matters. I think Austin Theory is better off having a work rate match in the middle of the card than being put in a situation where he's wrestling John Cena. John Cena buries him on the mic. Basically says, yeah, it's possible for you to win, but if you win, nobody's going to care that you won. And it's always going to look like shit. And you don't want to set the situation up where it's like Fandango. Like, this guy beat John Cena. Like Miro, Rusev, he beat John Cena. People didn't care that he beat John Cena. Bray Wyatt beat John Cena. People don't remember that. They don't care about that. So the thing is, you have to make people care. They dropped the ball on that. It's not Austin Theory's fault that the company booked him poorly. It's shameful. It truly is. At this point, I'm thinking like he's better off cashing in that Money in the Bank on the NXT title and feuding with Brian Breaker for 6 months or whatever. They were better off doing that than what they're doing now. And that promo was sick, bro. It was sick. It was unnecessarily harsh. And if he wasn't wearing shades, I think it would be cover up the tears that was in his eyes. Because it's like, how could you not have felt like emotional about that? As you're standing there and John Cena just tearing you apart. Just tearing this kid apart. It was nutty. Just absolutely nutty. But what can you do? Like, what can you do, really? He's got nothing to say to John Cena. The thing is that your only saving hope is that, this is going to motivate Austin Theory. Okay, how? What is he going to do? What is he going to do in 3 weeks to change John Cena's opinion of him? What is he going to change? What is he going to do in 3 weeks to change your opinion of him? Because they've had months since the Money in the Bank fiasco and they haven't changed anything. They put a jacket on him and put shades on him and that was it. I feel like I'm just saying the same thing over and over again. They didn't. They not. Let's just move on. Let's just go. It's frustrating. I actually like Austin Theory too, which is the terrible thing. I'm 100% okay with him beating John Cena if you'd have done it right the first time. You know, if you'd have done it right, stayed on course, even if he lost to Roman Reigns or whatever, if you'd have stayed on course and kept him mixed in with the top guys, he would fit in a ring with John Cena. But this is a guy who barely fits in the ring with Lashley at this point. He barely fits in the ring with Seth Rollins. You know, his only big wins have been over guys like Mustafa Ali and Dolph Ziggler. Like, he beat Edge. Yeah, somebody interfered for that to happen. He wasn't in a position to beat Edge. It was part of a storyline. Just like Johnny Gargano, beating Finn Balor. It's part of a storyline. It doesn't mean anything. It's just I guess it works if you Google it on Cage Match. It means something. But are you really going to go back and relive Austin Theory's big win over Edge? No. And that's what it should have been. It should have been a moment. I don't know. Whatever. Like I'm saying, when they did Randy Orton, right? You look at the push Randy Orton got. Randy Orton was winning. He was cheating sometimes, but other times he was getting clean wins. He had a really sweet finish. RKO, he was hitting that joint. He won the Intercontinental title. He was Intercontinental champion for a long time. He was mixing in with the top guys, losing, but he was mixing in with the top guys in there with Goldberg and in there with Kane and stuff. Even after the Evolution, he was in there with Undertaker, had a pretty good feud with him. He wasn't ready for none of that stuff, but they put him in there and forced him. Like, look, this is how it's going to work. You got to have to step up. John Cena had to go through the same thing. After he feuded with JBL, they put him in there with Jericho and Angle, and he wasn't ready. You got to get it together. That's the whole thing about the whole Austin Theory not being ready is so frustrating to me. Because it's like, what the fuck? This has been going on since Bruno Sammartino. When you start saying, this is the guy we're going to push, everybody's going to say that he sucks. Everybody's going to say that he's not ready. But guess what? You do it anyway because you have to believe in the decision that you made. If you don't believe in the decision that you made, nobody will. And this pensive back and forth push with Austin Theory where, it's a big part of the year. Now it's time to push Austin Theory. But it's mid-June, so we're going to pull back. We're not going to do anything with him for all of November. But we're going to put him in the Royal Rumble for a really, really long time. But he's going to get eliminated, and nobody's really going to care that he was in the match for a long time. He's also not going to talk about how he was in the match for a long time. He doesn't have a catchphrase, doesn't have a look, he doesn't have anything. But we're going to put him in the ring with John Cena. Come on. That's stupid. Triple H sucks. 3 weeks. 3 weeks. I said WrestleMania was going to be it. And this Austin Theory thing has really frustrated the hell out of me. All right. Let's move on. Becky Lynch, Lita, and Trish Stratus challenged Damage Control to a 6-woman tag at WrestleMania. Bayley accepted the 6-woman tag, but it seemed like Io and Dakota was not down for that. It seemed like they might have won a rematch for their tag team championships. Something was going on with Bayley's butt where it was like decked out. Like it was like she had a patio back there or something. I'm like, what's going on with her butt? What is her butt doing? We're always looking at Auntie Pam, respectfully, not with lasciviousness in our hearts, but, just respectfully. But today her booty was just doing something different in them pants. I'm like, wait a minute, Auntie Pam, what are you doing? She was also wearing a sweatshirt with no sleeves. She watched Revolution apparently and decided she was going to dress like Christian. Other bits of this promo was Bayley saying that Lita and Becky Lynch is selfish, that all they cared about is adding to their trophy case and stealing other people's spotlight. She also had a short little stare down with Trish Stratus, which I thought was nice. So I guess we had to go ahead and get there. They didn't drag it out, so that was nice. So this match is going to be fine, I guess. I'm not sure Dakota Kai deserves to be in the ring with Lita and Trish Stratus and all these people, but, what can you do? Triple H likes her. a weird decision, right? You know, we're not getting the whole Dakota Kai's not ready yet. Dakota Kai's not ready yet. She gets worse reactions than Austin Theory, but she gets to put in a match with two wrestling legends. She apparently must be ready. She's got a solidified spot on the card, despite the fact that she's not over and nobody cares. While, you know, there's a few other girls who are more over than Dakota Kai and would probably be more over if they got the push, but they don't get the opportunities. Well, we're not going to talk about that, though. We're just going to move on. The Miz and Maurice, they did the Top Gun parody. It was nice. Maurice looks beautiful. She is gorgeous in everything that she does, so I like that. The Miz as Maverick, you know, he's always the goofy dad. He's not cool, you know, so I don't think he really fit Top Gun, but I like the, you know, Maurice in that jumpsuit. Hey, Zeus in heaven. She looked good in that joint. She looked good. Like a bacon and egg sandwich. She looked good. No more. They still haven't talked about the Hall of Fame yet. 2 weeks or whatever. They still have not mentioned a single person for the Hall of Fame. Not one. Is this another thing Triple H is just going to drop the ball on? We're not doing Hall of Fame this year, apparently. I don't know. It's pretty dumb. All right. So before we leave, we gotta spend the remaining couple of seconds here talking about how apparently Vince McMahon is backstage sporting a mustache, and nobody out of all these people who are supposedly talking so much to Meltzer and Alvarez, nobody got a camera phone. Nobody can get a camera phone so we can see this sweet stash of Vince McMahon. Nobody can say and then send it to Meltzer or whatever, and nobody will know that it's happened. Nobody can get a picture of Vince McMahon with a mustache. I wonder what kind of mustache it is. It's like a Super Mario mustache. It's like a Ned Flanders mustache. Is it like one of those pencil thin mustaches? Is it like the Fu Manchu, like Hulk Hogan? What kind of mustache does Vince McMahon have backstage? I needed that piece of information. Don't just tell me that Vince McMahon has a mustache and then don't tell me what kind of mustache it is. Okay, is he like Dutch Mantel back there? Is that what's going on? Because I want to know. I want to see it. Don't tell me about Vince McMahon and his vaunted mustache, because I heard about his beard, and I heard his beard game was nice. But now you're telling me he's back there rocking a mustache. I'm like, wait a minute. I need to see this. I need evidence of this. I seen this Bursa elbow. I can see his mustache. He's back there with a goatee or something like that. What's going on? Well, the dirt sheets, they got all the information. They ain't got no evidence ever. It's unfortunate. I want to see Vince McMahon's mustache and not Photoshop. All right, I want to see it. All right, do all the YouTube things, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed Raw. Hope you guys enjoyed the Raw review. See you guys around, and I'll talk to you guys later.